Throughout Africa, there are many dictators who retard the development of a prosperous Africa. Almost every country has a dictator, and there are three main reasons why African dictators claim the power. First, they think that the country belongs to them. Second, African heads of state often surround themselves with loyal supporters, usually coming from their own tribe. The third reason is fear. Many dictators know that they have done bad and try to take in more power so that their past misdeeds will not be exposed. African leaders are very forgiving, and they can call a meeting with opposing leaders in order to negotiate a way out. Three particular countries must be discussed. Togo, located by the Gulf of Guinea, had once been ruled by a brutal dictator named Gnassingbé Eyadema. When he finally died in 2005, his son took over Togo following a military coup. Doubts with the constitutional legitimacy of the succession led to the resignation of Faure. A very controversial election followed, and Faure was sworn in as president again, even though the election was far from democratic. Mass protests spread throughout the Togolese capital, and Faure shot 400 people who were fighting for democracy in Togo. A similar election in 2010 occurred, and Faure was re-elected. The second dictator that must be discussed is Muammar Gaddafi. He died in 2011, but he was previously the longest current serving head of state in the world. His rule lasted for an unprecedented 42 years. During his reign, he promoted terrorism and he hated America. When the Libyan civil war started in early 2011, Gaddafi opposed all rebels, and he killed about 10,000 innocent civilians. The third dictator is now the world's longest continually serving head of state. His name is Teodoro Obiang, and he rules both selfishly and brutally over the country of Equatorial Guinea. He took power in a bloody coup in August 1979 from Francisco Macias Nguema, a dictator so homicidal that some had nicknamed Equatorial Guinea the Auschwitz of Africa. When elections do occur in Equatorial Guinea every 5 years, he has always won at least 90% of the popular vote. Equatorial Guinea has become very rich due to the discovery of oil by America in 1996. However, in spite of the wealth, the vast majority of Equatorial Guineans lack access to drinking water. Starvation and unemployment make Equatorial Guinea a very poor country. President Obiang, on the other hand, owns 800 million USD, a $35 million mansion, 11 sports cars, as well as a few mansions in France. In 2009, there was an election in Equatorial Guinea between Mr. Obiang and the opposing candidate. President Obiang won 97% of the popular vote. The government of Equatorial Guinea opposes freedom of the press. Anyone who criticizes Obiang and the regime is sent to jail. Even though the country of Equatorial Guinea is rich in oil, the money goes directly to the government, more specifically to President Obiang. The problem of autocracy in Africa is a serious one. Almost every nation has a dictator. How will this issue be solved? The Arab Spring is a sign of hope for all Africans. Started on December 18, 2011 in the African country of Tunisia. 3 nations in Africa have already undergone a revolution. Gaddafi challenged rebel forces in Libya. Consequently, he slaughtered 10,000 innocent civilians. A civil war ensued which resulted in his death and the death of his regime. America, of course, was involved. President Obama was able to send several military planes in order to fight the Gaddafi forces and the oil trade between Libya and the United States, completely ending the entire Libyan civil war, which lasted about 8 months. As a result, gas prices at U.S. pumps went up. An important revolution has also occurred in Egypt, in which the dictator Hosni Mubarak was overthrown and replaced with democratically elected president. Mohamed Morsi is Egypt's first democratically elected president in a land where autocracy is literally as old as the pyramids. Egypt is a role model for Africa. However, you may wonder, why is only Northern Africa rebelled instead of the rest of the continent? Well, to start, there are many young people in the Arab world, and most of them have access to technology like the iPhone and iPad. However, there have been 2 main resources which have helped Arabs rebel against their oppressive government: Facebook and Twitter. Social networking sites have helped many people in Northern Africa to interact and spread ideas. The internet has also played an important role in the dissemination of democratic values and civil rights. Additionally, though, there are other solutions to the unrest in Africa that can be implemented with some success. There actually may be a possibility to overthrow or, if necessary, murder every dictator in Africa. However, governments are rarely just a single person. Even if murdering the dictator seems like a good solution, the process may involve a civil war, as seen in Libya. America is also a beacon of hope, mainly because the democratic ideals of this country and their success are viewed as the right way to govern a nation. As we progress further into the 3rd millennium, America's influence over the continent of Africa will spread due to technology and the desire for civil rights in meta-autocracies in Africa. Patience is required for democracy to grow. Once a democracy is established, the citizens of that particular nation need to become accustomed to being free. It may take 2 years, 5 years, even 10 or 20 years for democracy to finally take its hold in places accustomed to autocrats. If the efforts are truly given, then time will tell, and the people will have freedom.